Ladies and gentlemen, if you're able, please be upstanding for the President and members of Council for roll call positions.
Please be seated. So firstly, a really very warm and sincere welcome from myself and my council colleagues behind me, and indeed college staff, to the Royal College of Physicians of Edinburgh. My name's Andrew Elder. I'm a geriatrician and I have the honour of being the current president of the college. Diploma ceremonies are always joyous and special occasions, being as they are a celebration and commemoration of substantial life achievements. In this case, it's passing the membership. But I think ceremonies like this are particularly important given the times in which we are living. So congratulations to you all first and foremost. It's a real delight to have you present, many with your family and friends, some in the room and others online. And we do hope you have enjoyed the day so far and enjoy the ceremony and the rest of the evening. But whilst we all gather here to celebrate and commemorate, I'm sure we're all also thinking of the world outside this old college and all that is going on there. These are difficult times for medicine. We have our own concerns here in the UK, but we must also, as an international community of doctors, bear in mind those caught up in the conflicts around the world at the moment. And today, not unusually amongst our diplomats, we have doctors who graduated from parts of the world currently affected by conflict, violence and war. I note specifically doctors here today from Myanmar, from Palestine, from Sudan and from Yemen. Our college has issued public statements to stress that we abhor violence of all sorts, particularly violence against civilians, and particularly too against all those who are trying to treat the sick and wounded in any of these conflict zones. So that means healthcare professionals and doctors. They must be protected in their work. We've also urged all protagonists in these various conflicts to permit humanitarian aid to enter zones of conflict. Sadly, in all these areas that I allude to, that is not currently the case. So as I say, although this is a day of celebration, I just ask that we all briefly pause in a moment of respect and remembrance for all those currently affected by conflict in our world. Thank you. I'm sure you'll have noticed that my colleagues here arrayed in the chairs behind me. They're those of council who were able to attend today. We've just had a council meeting, and I'd actually like them all to come up here and introduce themselves, starting off with Dr. Susan Pound. Sue.
Hello and welcome. My name is Sue Pound. I'm a geriatrician and I work in the Kingdom of Fife, for which those of you who don't know, Scotland is just north of Edinburgh on the other side of the Firth of Forth. I'm also one of the 3 vice presidents of the college.
Hello, my name's Laura Clark. I'm a nephrologist in Aberdeen and I represent Council for the North of Scotland. Congratulations.
Hello, I'm Jane Wallace. I'm a geriatrician in Northumbria, in the northeast of England. So welcome to you all and huge congratulations.
Hello, I'm Alec MacDonald. I'm chair of the college's Lay Advisory Committee, so I'm not a doctor. My own field is IT and economic development. I've never, I'm delighted to say, had to sit and pass the MRCP exam. Many congratulations to all of you.
Hello, my name is Aoife Duignan. I'm a geriatrics trainee here in Edinburgh, and congratulations to everyone today.
Hello, congratulations. I come all the way from Wales. I'm a geriatrician. I'm Sharon Ramakrishna.
Hello, I'm Kerry Baker. I'm an acute physician. I too work and live in the Kingdom of Fife, but we can't all be that lucky. And I'm the Dean of Education here at the college. It's a real privilege and delight to welcome you all and say congratulations on this achievement.
Hello, my name is Soon Song. I'm a diabetes consultant in Sheffield Teaching Hospitals. Congratulations.
Hi everyone, I'm Has Jafferboy. I'm a gastroenterologist. One more from the Kingdom of Fife. There must be something going on there, and congratulations on this very big day for you all.
Welcome everyone, I'm Catherine Labinjo and I'm not from Fife. I'm a cardiologist, I'm the ambassador for our Quality Governance Collaborative, and I'm the elected member for Central Scotland and the East of Scotland. Well done everyone.
Congratulations. My name is Trish Cantley. I am a geriatrician, although I'm currently in a non-clinical role with NHS Lothian Board, so I'm one of the council members representing Lothian, Fife and Borders. Thank you.
Welcome and congratulations. My name's Matt Thomas. I'm a geriatrician from Poole in the Kingdom of Wessex on the south coast of England, and I'm the Dean of Exams here.
So thanks very much, all everybody. It must seem like it's some kind of geriatrician takeover here, but remember, geriatric medicine is the biggest specialty in the UK, eclipsing even cardiology. The most important part of the ceremony, of course, is the presentation of the diplomas. But while we've got you here, we'd like to tell you a bit about the college, a wee bit about its past and a bit about its present. And to start us with that, I'd like to invite Dr. Aoife Dagnan, who's representing our trainees here today, to give a trainee perspective on the college. Aoife.
Hello, my name is Aoife and I'm one of the members of the Trainees and Members Committee, which I'll tell you about in a wee while. So the college has been around for quite some time. It was founded in 1681 when physicians were getting together in their own homes to discuss the regulation and practice of medicine to try to ensure that everyone was practicing in good faith. And so under the stewardship of King Charles, they formed the college under a charter in 1681. The college then started to publish some literature, a pharmacopoeia, a guide for physicians and pharmacists to try to standardise medical practice, and that has led to the development of an extensive library in the college, which you'll have the opportunity to explore later. Perhaps most relevant to a lot of you here today, in 1884, the college developed what they called the triple qualification, working together with the College of Surgeons here in Edinburgh and also the College of Physicians and Surgeons across in Glasgow, to kind of recognise and examine physicians and ensure their quality. And that's ultimately what's become MRCP that all of you have sat today. And while the college has had a long road to its journey now, we're also really conscious that all of you have started into your medical careers or worked for the past few years through all these exams, through some of the most challenging years that many of us have ever experienced. So working through lockdowns, through the pandemic. But despite that, you've all chosen to continue in a physicianly career and come here today. There's lots of other pressures going on. Everyone is affected by inflation, both within the healthcare system and personally. There's increasing burnout and pressure on all of us in our roles and out at the hospital as well. And we're conscious that we work in a climate where there is ongoing unease and turbulence throughout the UK, as evidenced perhaps by the strikes over the last couple of years. But despite that, you have chosen to go through all of the challenges of each part of the MRCP exam and passed it and come here today. And so what we as a trainees committee are delighted to do is to get the chance to share some of this information about the college to hopefully help you feel proud of what you've joined today. And what is the college? Why should we care about it? What does it offer? we have quite strong values of inclusivity and diversity, which is probably quite a contrast to the white men who initially gathered in their Edinburgh houses to set up the system. But the core principle of trying to work as a voice to advocate for the needs of patients remains the same. Increasingly, the college is working collaboratively to promote environmental responsibility, both within medical specialties, but also throughout the healthcare system, because we're conscious that climate change is one of the things that's going to most impact on people's health in the future. And we aim to be accountable, and part of that we'll come on to as we talk about the role of the Trainees Committee and how you can interact with us. The Trainees Committee is made up of probably about 20 trainees from throughout the UK. We've got 3 core strands of representation: careers and communication and education. And each of those groups work both internally and also with other groups out with the college. We try to meet in person a couple of times a year, most particularly once a year in September. But also then regularly as a group virtually to plan the ongoing work of the committee. And we're from a variety of backgrounds, from foundation up to higher trainees. One of the main activities of the Trainees Committee is to organise the evening medical updates, which I'm sure many of you will attended. Since COVID, these have moved to an online forum, and you can register and then watch it at any time within the following month. All of the topics are mapped to the IMT curriculum. And we also try to cover non-clinical topics too. So there was a clinical governance session a couple of months ago. These are examples of some of the topics we've covered this year, and we're typically seeing over 1,000 delegates attending each session. And whether you'd like to attend yourself in future, or if you'd like to join the Trainees Committee and help us organise them, we'd be delighted to have you take part. The Trainees Committee is also involved in producing podcasts, which have been really successful. They cover both clinical topics in our Clinical Conversations podcasts, and also career conversations, which include advice about topics such as being involved in leadership, medical education, what specialties you might wish to be involved in. They're quite easy to read or easy to listen to and conversational, and perfect while you're commuting to work. This is an example of one of the conversations that was recently had about medical microbiology. There's been a recent clinical conversations about clinical debriefing, which is really enjoyable. Once a year, we arrange a medical trainees conference, most recently in Newcastle. We think the next conference will be here in Edinburgh next January, and that's free for any member of the college to attend. Importantly as well, we also represent trainees out with the college to groups such as the MRCP, where we're involved in giving feedback about changes in the plans for curricula, recruitment, and things like the MRCP decision aids that are produced for general medicine. We also feed into the Academy of Medical Royal Colleges and are involved in engaging with other groups such as the GMC and the BMA to ensure that trainees' voice, and importantly the voice of physician trainees, is well represented. We've been involved in advocating for evidence-based recruitment strategies for internal medicine and medical specialties. There's been a big piece of work about less than full-time working, which should be published in the next little while. We've been working on fighting for study leave reforms, ensuring trainees are communicated with about exam disruption, and advocating for people to be facilitated in sitting their exams, as well as supporting foundation doctors. We're conscious that we're not perfect, and if you have any suggestions of how we could improve, we'd like to hear them. Some things we'd like to do more are support SAS doctors, trying to put some of the findings from the less than full-time research into practice, and continuing to engage in holding bodies in medical education leadership to account about the issues and concerns that are raised about training. We try to be proactive rather than reactive as best we can. And there's opportunities for you all to engage as well. So at a very initial level, you can follow us on Instagram and Twitter, and you can communicate with us there as well. You can also email us at trainees@rcp.ie or come and talk to us at any of our in-person events. We're going to be looking for new people to join the committee over the next few months to start for the next academic year. And if anyone has any questions about doing that, please come and chat to me afterwards, or do send an email to the trainees@rcpe email address. I hope you all have a lovely evening this evening.
So Aoife, thanks very much for that and for all you and your colleagues do on behalf of the college. So I'll just go through a few slides now, expanding just on a few of the things that we've touched on there. First of all, about exams. As I say there, each College of Physicians has run exams for over 200 years, and the form that you've sat through the three colleges, London, Edinburgh and Glasgow, came into being just over 50 years ago. But before that, this picture here, is apparently from the London College in the 1700s, and the candidate is there, and everybody else in the room is an examiner. So if you thought PACES was bad, imagine being passed from one examiner to the other around the table there and getting asked anything about anything. Here's a written paper from, this is Dr. Kipnock, I think is, in 1894, sitting through Edinburgh. And I think it's always quite interesting to see what questions they were asked about in their viva, in their oral. So he's got peripheral neuritis, important because of the prevalence of syphilis at the time, ascending paralysis for the same reason, diseases of the heart, phthisis, which is the wasting form of tuberculosis, which we hardly see now in this country, but which was common then, and acute TB. And then in therapeutics, he's got management of hemoptysis and climactic treatment of TB, which was the whole idea of, are you best to nurse patients with TB outside or indoors? And one of the hospitals in Edinburgh that specialised in TB had balconies outside every ward where patients were wheeled out in their beds, because it was believed to be beneficial. And I put all that to you really because to make the point that, what are exams for? Well, they're for patients at the end of the day. We try and use them to drive your education in ways that will help patient care. And I know you might, when you're thinking about some of the questions you were asked in part one, wonder if that is the case, but everything that we do put in is devised to try and drive your learning. MRCP UK is mandatory, as you know. In UK, you can't progress without it, and it's not the only part of the assessment system. All the workplace-based assessments are complementary. But one point I wanted to make, particularly at the current time, is when people are talking about, well, what is it that makes a doctor as distinct from other healthcare professions? Well, it's the breadth, the depth, the length and intensity, not only of your training, but of your assessment. So going through these exams distinguishes you from other healthcare professionals. And I'm phrasing it that way because all of you who are working in the UK at the moment will know the controversy around physician associates. MRCP UK has a global reach, and there are all the countries in the world where you can sit MRCP UK. Those in blue, you can only sit the two written parts. Those in red, you can sit the writtens and the clinicals. Okay, and the slide doesn't tell the whole story because, for example, in India, there are now 9 PACES centres, 9 cities which host PACES. So I say a huge reach. Why would doctors outside the UK want to sit MRCP UK when it's not necessarily mandatory? It is in some countries like Hong Kong, Singapore, but well, the plain fact of the matter is that many countries have increased their medical school output, and doctors graduate and don't have a fixed postgraduate training programme to go into. And some people are arguing that's beginning to become the case in this country too. So the MRCP UK exam, with all its structure, it provides doctors around the world with a framework of learning and clinical skills to help them progress. 26,000 candidates a year sit the exam, and it's a difficult exam. which is why we're all congratulating you. There are 2 difficult writtens, and my background is in exams, and I know that these are as tough as the American boards in internal medicine are writtens. You know, so passing them on their own is an achievement. But we also, unlike the Americans, have a directly observed clinical skills exam, PACES, which you've all passed, because we still want to ensure that doctors can speak to a patient, take a history from them, give them information, and maybe, you know, even do a bit of physical exam. So you have passed an extremely difficult exam, the biggest internal medicine exam in the world, and you should be very proud of the letters after your name. They're still valued around the world for what they mean. I'll say just a wee bit about the college. As you've heard there, we were founded under the reign of the King Charles before the current King Charles II, in 1681. And there at the bottom is our charitable purpose: to promote the science of medicine in order to improve the practice of that science. So it's worth stressing that we are a charity. What made a small group of doctors in a small city in Northern Europe, Edinburgh, want to form a college? Well, there's 3 driving forces. The first was, at that time, the late 1600s, doctors had to be botanists as well. Yeah, they had to grow, curate plants, work out how to use them medicinally. And as you've heard there, the college created the first pharmacopoeia formulary in Scotland in the late 1600s. Our association with plants is marked too by the fact that one of the first presidents of the college founded the Royal Botanic Gardens in Edinburgh as well. We still have a very small, symbolic, what's called physic garden in the grounds of the college that you'll probably see on your tours this evening. But that was one of the early driving forces to create us. The second was standards of care, and that applies very much today. This letter that you see here is from about 6 years after the college was founded. And a small group of fellows then said, well, you know, the care of the poor in Edinburgh is terrible. Yeah, they had very little access to healthcare. So they, it's described in this letter, formed a system to visit patients, poorer patients in their own homes and give them care. So even at that time, attempting to address some of the health inequalities that they saw. And then the final driving force are books, and you'll see that this evening as you go around the college. Books were the internet of their times. If you wanted to know something, you went where the books were. So the college started collecting books, and now we have what is Scotland's oldest medical library. And as I say, you'll see a bit of that, and some special books too will be on display for you during your tours. What about our places? Well, you can represent the college as a place with the buildings we have occupied in Edinburgh, starting up here in the old part of the town, Fountain Close, and now we're down here in the new town, and this is the new library in this current building that you'll see this evening. But the college is much more than a series of buildings in Edinburgh, and that's a very important point that we want to make to you this evening. Our places are your places, where you come from and where you work now and where you're going to work. And there's all the flags, all the countries that are represented here this evening. So this college is a people project. It's an international organisation that is based in Edinburgh. Passing membership, fantastic. It doesn't make you automatically a collegiate member of any college. We rely on your support, so please do consider this evening whether you'd like to join with us as a collegiate member. I want to bring these driving forces up to date now. How can we represent plants now? Well, we have the small physic garden, but we don't make digitalis from foxgloves anymore and all that kind of thing. I think it's best represented by our work on heritage. We have a small exhibition centre. We're about to get museum accreditation, and that's going to be extended. Do have a look at the heritage pages on the website. One good addition there during the pandemic, in the recognition that people weren't finding it easy to come to Edinburgh, was virtual tours of Edinburgh medicine. You know, we've got a very rich history outside, even outside this College of Medicine. So have a look at that heritage. Standards, how do we bring standards up to date? Well, there broadly is what we do in the UK to maintain and uphold standards of patient care. The top two things here are very, very important and should not be taken for granted. So the colleges write the curricula for internal medicine and all their specialties. So the curriculum is in the hands of the profession. Yeah. Importantly, we create, develop, and critically set the passing standard for your exams. So that's in the hands of the profession. And in a country where there's a state-run monopoly provider health service, it's very, very important that we hold on to those academic standards in those ways. We contribute to the oversight of training quality in the UK, and we do our best with 3 governments and an executive in the UK to influence health care policy through the mechanisms I show you at the bottom. Outside the UK, I think our main input into maintaining standards of patient care is through the provision of education and providing or offering exams in the way that I've already described. And what about books then? Well, that's easy to bring up to date because that, I would say, is our work on education and professional development. And there's just a list of some of the educational activities that we have. We do have a good number of medals, awards and prizes, some of which we don't award often enough. Yeah, so have a look at our website for what we can do in that regard. We have our own journal and a huge number of symposia and webinars. And just to try and put briefly numbers on it, there you are. There's a rough idea of what we did in 2023 in terms of provision of medical education. Very, very importantly, the guts of our educational output is delivered online. So many, many colleagues all around the world can tune in to live web-streamed educational content as well as access it online. As Aoife mentioned, we have a very strong podcast series and that we're always looking to develop, and hopefully some of you might get involved in that. So how do we achieve all that? I've said that we're a charity, and there's our 4 main income streams. There's where we get the money to do everything I've described for you. The most important information on the slide, I'd suggest to you, is what's written at the bottom there. We have no direct government funding. We have very little pharma sponsorship or other commercial, and we have no funding from the NHS. So everything we do is done by the profession for patients. As Aoife hinted as well, I think lots of doctors are saying, well, what do colleges actually do? Yeah, so I've tried to explain there what we do and why we do it. And there's one additional box there that I haven't already alluded to, and that's the one at the bottom here, sustain community in medicine. You know, at a time when I think we often feel a wee bit on our own in medicine, organisations like colleges and specialist societies are a way of making us feel like we are part of something bigger. A couple of slides just to finish. Workforce issues, the state of the workplace and the well-being of the workforce are very, very much at the front of all of our minds as clinicians and office bearers and trustees of this college. You know, there's a lot we could talk about in there, but there's a pressing need in the UK to expand training places, to improve training in terms of making it more flexible. And it's not just for doctors who are in bona fide training places, it's for doctors who may be in LED or SAS roles. Coupled with that is the need to protect the time that consultants have to deliver training in such a highly pressured National Health Service. Quite rightly, we all think these days about equality, diversity and inclusivity. And although we were founded in 1681, it took us until 1929 for us to have our first female fellow, and that's Dr. Ella Pringle, and there's a room now named after her in the college. This is a relatively recent picture of council, and I think you can just see sort of literally at face value that we have a much better diversity now than was the case even 20, 30 years ago. So we've improved on that. But for me, ED&I isn't just about counting numbers of different types of protected characteristics. It's how people feel when they get involved in an organisation. It's about everybody feeling welcomed and valued and feeling they can equally contribute to our work. And that's something the Edinburgh College feels very, very strongly about, that we would want anybody from anywhere in the world to feel able to be engaged with us. So this is my last slide, and I use it to make a relatively simple but important point. It's a pretty well-known medical image. It's called The Doctor in Our Times. You can see it in the Tate Gallery in London. It was painted by Luke Fildes in 1891, and he was actually commissioned by Sir Henry Tate to paint a picture to represent what doctors meant at that time in the UK. And although it's a familiar image, I think for many people the story, the full story behind it isn't known. We've got the doctor here leaning over what turns out to be the deathbed here of this toddler. Okay? There's no medical equipment there, and that was a deliberate intention of the artist. He wanted to focus on the doctor and their patient. And in the background here we have the father and the mother slumped over the table in anticipation of the grief to come. And I think what lots of people don't know about the image is that the father is the artist, Luke Fildes, and he was painting a picture of something that happened to him and his wife and their young son. They lost a toddler son to diphtheria. And what Fildes said at the time was that although their child died, the character and bearing of the doctor throughout the whole time of their anxiety made a deep, deep impression on them. So all of your education to date as medical students, postgraduates, all the exams you've passed, including this one, the membership, have equipped you very, very well to be doctors. And the continuing education, the lifelong learning that you'll continue to undertake and will form a big part of your professional life will continue to equip you to be doctors. You have much knowledge and many skills. The skills to listen, to talk and explain, to assess through the power of your hands, your eyes and your ears, and to interpret the myriad test and imaging results that you now have at your disposal. And many of you will gain additional procedural skills as you go through your training. And you'll take all that knowledge and all those skills to the bedside in every outpatient clinic every time you meet a patient. But this image here and the story behind it, I think, should remind us all that the most powerful tool in the doctor's bag was then and remains now our presence, our compassion, and our empathy. Always take them with you to the bedside. They will serve you and your patients well. So congratulations again. Thank you for your attention, and we'll now move on to the presentation of the diplomas. Thanks. I should have said, I'll invite Dr. Matt Thomas to read the diplomats' names. Yeah, thanks.
Thank you, President. Dr. Niall Ahern, qualified Belfast, working Newton Abbey. Dr. Mohammed Izzeldin Magani Ali, qualified Khartoum, working Newcastle upon Tyne. Dr. Olatoyo Moko, qualified Ola in Nigeria, working Lincoln. Dr. Daria Antipova, qualified Tomsk, Russia, working Inverness. Dr. Sohail Anwar, qualified Abbottabad, Pakistan, working Salford. Dr. Sorthu Ong, qualified Yangon, working Belfast. Dr. Anuraj Biswas Avik, qualified Dhaka, Bangladesh, working Hull. Dr. Hafsa Atif Beg, working, qualified Karachi, Pakistan, working in Walsall. Dr. Natasha Boylan, qualified Belfast, working in Derry. Dr. Samantha Brown, qualified Imperial, London, working in Hexham. Dr. James David Carberry, qualified Birmingham, working Darlington. Dr. Faris Chater, qualified Kiel, working Manchester. Dr. Yvonne Chi Yin Chow, qualified Prague, Czech Republic, working in Hull. Yes. Dr. Alistair Cowie, working in qualified Dundee, working in Aberdeen. Dr. Kapil Dhingra, qualified Guwahati, India, working in Liverpool. Dr. Rishi Dogra, qualified Karnataka, India, working in Liverpool. Dr. Temrez Durrani, qualified Rawalpindi, Pakistan, working Newcastle upon Tyne. Dr. Magana Good, qualified Bellary, India, working in Manchester. Dr. Scott Haney, qualified Edinburgh, working in Edinburgh. Dr. Mir Saud Iqbal, qualified Karachi, Pakistan, working in Preston. Dr. Hafiz Awais Javed, qualified Lahore, Pakistan, working in Manchester. Dr. Jayasekara, qualified Sri Lanka, working in Preston. Dr. Nanda Jayawirabadara, qualified Colombo, Sri Lanka, working in Colombo. Dr. Lindsay Johnston, qualified Edinburgh, working in Edinburgh. Dr. Myrto Kastrisiou, qualified Ioannina, Greece, working Dundee. Dr. Mohammed Mahmoud Hamdan Kouari, qualified Khartoum, Sudan, working in Toronto. Dr. Lee Kenny, qualified Newcastle, working in Gateshead. Dr. Mohammed Khan, qualified Gulbarga, India, working in Cardiff. Dr. Vishal Zainab Lagari, qualified Hyderabad, Pakistan, working in Carlisle. Dr. Aaron Lau Heng Yik, qualified Newcastle, working in Newcastle. Dr. Victoria Leng, qualified Edinburgh, working in Edinburgh. Dr. Cameron Lowe, qualified Edinburgh, working in Edinburgh. Dr. Rachel Miller, qualified Belfast, working in Glasgow. Dr. Mecca Mary Mohan, qualified Kerala, India, working in York. Dr. Christina Amy Musat, qualified Southampton, working in Liverpool. Dr. Ong Phyo, qualified Yangon, Myanmar, working in Norwich. Dr. Aparna Potlaru, qualified Edinburgh, working in Edinburgh. Dr. Alawatij Pushpakanthi, qualified Peridenia, Sri Lanka, working in Kettering. Dr. Rory Quinn, qualified Glasgow, working in Inverness. Dr. Deepak Rathod, qualified Bangalore, India, working in Bangalore. Dr. Sarah Rollison, qualified Cardiff, working in Cardiff. Dr. Fatima Sheikh, qualified Birmingham, working in Inverness. It's always the president that's spoiling it, rather than me. Dr. Alexander Simons, qualified Liverpool, working in Edinburgh. Dr. Brandon Say Man Tan, qualified Dundee, working Aberdeen. Dr. Wei Lun Tan, qualified Lincoln University, Malaysia, working in Malaysia. Dr. Ahmed Taufek, qualified Zagazig, Egypt, working in Muscat. Dr. Lucy Taylor, qualified Leicester, working in Rugby. Dr. Ki Pia Than Yu, qualified Yangon, Myanmar, working Stoke-on-Trent. Dr. Yamin Thant, qualified Yangon, Myanmar, working in Peterborough. This is, as you've noticed, a very family affair, and that extends to the delegates as well. Dr. Ahmed Shaheen, qualified Samar Republic of Yemen, working in Newcastle. Dr. Iman Shaheen, qualified Al-Quds, Palestine, working Houghton-le-Spring. As partners, we daren't ask who scored more in the exam, just so. We continue with a trilogy now. So, Dr. A. Myat Mon, qualified Yangon, working Singapore. Dr. Mayat Sumon, qualified Yangon, working Southampton. Dr. Win Tup So, qualified Yangon, working Southampton. So we have two siblings and one of their partners, which completes the family. But she doesn't want to stand next to him.
So I must admit, I always feel just a wee bit guilty during that. We've asked you to sit two very difficult written exams, then a very difficult clinical skills exam. Then we ask you to walk down a staircase with gowns on and various types of footwear. So well done on that as well. But I hope that you, like me, can feel a bit of the joy in the room. As I said at the beginning there, this is a celebration of a major life event. So that concludes the formal part of the ceremony. I'd like to thank all the staff in the college, but behind the scenes that goes into making these events happen. I want to thank Dr. Matt Thomas for reading the names faultlessly, I thought, and to Gilly Marshall, where's Gilly gone, for helping me out with the diplomas and pointing out that I'd forgotten one. But there is one final thanks to a very special group. The medical career path is a long and winding one, and none of us me included, could do it without the support of our loved ones. Passing the membership is often a family affair. So I'd like to ask everybody who's just been presented with a diploma to join with myself and my council colleagues in offering a round of applause to family and friends. Family and friends. So there's now an opportunity to move outside, to have some more photos taken. Everybody here loves getting their photos taken with their gowns on. I'm sure you'll be the same. But seriously, feel free to ask any of us to have another informal photo taken. The photographer will still be behind the scenes there taking photos too. Obviously, something to eat and drink upstairs, and we'll have tours running to have a look and tell you a wee bit about some of the beautiful rooms of the college and its history. So, congratulations again from us all. I hope you enjoy the evening. College officer.
It's 80th birthday.